It's the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion. This is for Friday, the 3rd of October. I'm Michael Groff. It is one of the most glorious days on the calendar during the year. It is that day where we ask the question, is this the last 100-degree day of the year here in Phoenix? And it sure looks like it will be. Although temperatures will cool down this weekend, they will warm up a bit next week. And some of the hottest desert spots may get pretty close to the triple digits, but I think we'll stay just shy of it. And then the forecast turns quite a bit more interesting and unsettled potentially as we go into late next week and that following weekend. And that is in association with moisture from a tropical cyclone down there that is developing off of the coast of Mexico. How much of that moisture comes up here? What are the ramifications of that? There are a ton of questions. We'll get into all of that, plus a lot of other stuff to get into. But before we can do any of that, it is Friday. And that means it's Photo Friday here. That's where we take a look at some of the photos and or videos that you guys have submitted. Pretty light on content this week. We start with David Parnell. He was up at the Round Dome, or Round Valley Dome, or whatever that is. That's up there in Eager. That is quite the structure considering it's Eager. It's a little town up in northeast Arizona, east central Arizona, and they have, I think it holds something. David said something like 9,000 for basketball, 5,500 for football. Anyway, normally David goes to these high school sporting events and it's outdoors, but this is actually indoors, but he just wanted to send me that, and I appreciate that. Then we have this from another David. It's a different David. We got Davids all over. This is from his view from Casa Grande of the SpaceX launch, that Falcon rocket from last weekend. Cool to see that. Then we go to Joe in Santan, and he has a brand new addition to his family, and this is his little dog, Bear. And Bear is, I guess the mother was a border collie. We don't know what the father was, maybe a German Shepherd, he speculates, but whatever the case, Bear is absolutely super cute. And Mike, how is this weather related? And the answer, who cares? It's Photo Friday. Come on, man. Plus, there is weather related stuff. He got rain out there in Santan last week, as did just about everybody last Friday. And it was really coming down out there. But there you see Bear enjoying the new home. And anytime you can bring a new loved one into your home, we always will support that. We have almost a menagerie here at Studio B between Freya, Buddy, and Topaz, our cat and two dogs, respectively. All right, this is from Jeff in Florence from the storms last week, and that's something to look at there. Thank you so much for that picture. Wow. Then another shot of the SpaceX launch, the Falcon rocket launch from Steve up in Willow Creek, and then a bird. How about that? So there you go. That is the photo portion of Photo Friday. But of course, we have videos, and the one and only Michelle has some video. This is what it was like to drive in the rain last Friday with those severe storms coming through the area. You can see the visibility is quite low. And we'll roll that video one more time so you can kind of get an idea. And this wasn't even as bad as it had been. It was actually worse than that, but the rain really coming down, and then you can see how it starts as a trickle, and then you get about a foot or more deep worth of water in just a real short amount of time there. Again, we'll roll that one more time so you can sort of see what starts as a trickle is about a foot of water here. It's very interesting stuff from Michelle. And then we'll follow that up with some more storm-related stuff. This is from Jim up in Prescott Valley, time-lapse of the clouds going on by. That is really cool. You know, we love to see our time-lapse stuff here. Ryan Seek has those throughout the monsoon season, and Jim has these now, so we'll have you covered for time-lapse, hopefully. But that is Photo Friday. Yeah, that is really cool. We love to see that. Anyway, that is Photo Friday. If I can get all my videos to stop rolling, there we go. We do this each and every Friday. groffshow@gmail.com is our email address. It's groffshow@gmail.com for you to participate in Photo Friday. All right, we have a few things to get to before we get into the main bulk of our stuff here. First of all, I have not been able to get you the September climate stats yet, but now we have them for you. The month of September 2025 in Phoenix goes down as the 10th warmest on record, with a mean temperature of 90.2 degrees, but with 2.26 inches of rain in the bucket, it is also the 10th wettest September on record. How about that? We actually got some rain thanks to the last week, especially that last Friday in September. That was incredible. The average high temperature for the month ranks as the 30th warmest, but it was those low temperatures that really brought up the mean for the month, as is so often the case here in Phoenix. All right, now we can get to the almanac from yesterday. 102 degrees the afternoon high, 76 the morning low, 95 and 72 the averages for this time of year. And as we take a look outside right now here at 7:40 a.m., we've got a few clouds out there. We're sitting at 77 degrees at Sky Harbor, dew point's 52, humidity 42%, winds are light, barometer rising. All right, satellite picture out here across the west. We put this in motion for you. You can see what's going on. We've got a trough off to the north and west of us, and that is going to bring an end to our triple-digit heat for now and probably for the rest of the year. In all probability, as that trough passes on by, cooler air will be ushered in behind it. And yeah, the daytime highs will drop, but it's those overnight lows that are going to feel so much better, especially with that drier air coming in. Yeah, by Saturday night, Sunday morning, some of the coolest valley locations will dip into the upper 50s. Same thing Sunday night, Monday morning, maybe even mid-50s and 60s elsewhere. That's going to feel great. But in the meantime, out ahead of that system, there could even be an isolated shower or thunderstorm up along the northern border of our state today and over in the eastern mountains. But for the most part, that's going to pass only with some wind. Speaking of, here's the watch warning map, and we do have a number of wind advisories here across the southwest, northern Arizona from 11 a.m. this morning through 7 p.m. this evening. Places like Flagstaff, Winslow, the Grand Canyon, you're under a wind advisory. Same for portions of Southern California as well, so be aware of that if you're traveling up across northern Arizona, southeast California, or even into parts of southern Nevada. It's going to be breezy to windy. And even away from those wind advisories, we could see some wind gusts to around 20, 25 miles per hour here in the lower deserts, and some isolated spots could even see some blowing dust. Convective outlook for today, that marginal risk of severe storms north of us with that passing system. And yes, in eastern Arizona, a broad area of green is shown on this. I will tell you, I think storms would be extremely isolated in the eastern part of our state today. And even where they do occur, they probably don't produce a whole lot of precipitation. Mostly there'll be wind and lightning producers. I guess a brief bit of rain could occur with the strongest storms, but that'll be about it. Nothing to write home about from those. And we certainly don't want to see those dry thunderstorms because that can produce lightning and wildfires. And with windy conditions this afternoon, we don't want to see that. That's for sure. All right, the tropics and the Atlantic now. We have this area of interest out here in the eastern and central Atlantic with another wave slated to come off the African coast. And yeah, about a 40% chance that we could see a system develop into a tropical depression or storm over the next 7 days in that part of the Atlantic. And obviously, hurricane season is not over. We still have to go through the rest of October and November. We also have that little disturbance that's sitting there near Florida. And I suppose that could develop into a tropical depression. It just would not have the opportunity to develop into much of anything, but it could still be a pretty big rainmaker. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as well. In the Pacific, the East Pacific, our attention is really focused on that wave that's off the Mexican coast with a 90% probability of development, according to the National Hurricane Center. And we're going to be watching with great interest how that develops because the models kind of picking up on it. We're going to show you that in just a second. But before we do, let me just let's show you old Octave here. And we've had some interesting systems named Octave through the years. These storms cycle on a 6-year cycle. Okay, these hurricane names are reused every 6 years unless they are retired because the storm becomes infamous. For example, in the Atlantic, there'll never be another Hurricane Michael. There will never be another Harvey, Camille, Hazel. Those names have been retired, and many others. But Octave, even though we've had some interesting Octaves come up here into the Southwest over the years, and this one's going to do something interesting. It's going to do the old reverse here. This is going to toilet bowl around and go back to the east. Kind of interesting, so let's kind of watch how that progresses. But we're focused on this. This is Invest 99E, and this is off the Mexican coast. Where this goes, nobody knows. The tropical models pick this up and move it off to the northwest. Southwest of the Baja. Where it goes after that is unknown. The GFS ensemble, you've got some members that bring this up into the Southwest U.S. Some just kind of fizzle it out. Some don't pick up on it at all. Whether or not the center of circulation tracks up into Southern California or Arizona doesn't necessarily mean that we won't get rain if it doesn't come up here. We're interested in the moisture from that. Of course, if the entire circulation center did come up here, that would probably produce even more widespread precipitation. But it is something to watch. The European ensemble, same thing. You've got a few members that bring this up into the Southwest. Many just have it kind of sitting out there off the Baja. And then it's going to really depend on the depth of a trough that's going to develop next week, an upper low. How much of that moisture, if not the entire circulation center, gets pulled northward remains to be seen. We're going to keep an eye on it. Closer to home, the precipitation outlook valid through Friday morning of next week. Hey, rain amounts in Phoenix are coming up. Now we see amounts anywhere from 1/4 to maybe as much as 1/2 of an inch here across south central and southwest Arizona, with isolated spots, of course, getting more. Your amount will vary. And this is in a nod to the increasing potential of tropical moisture. It's pretty widely agreed upon in the models that at least some moisture will increase over the Southwest, but how it plays out, that's where the uncertainty lies. We're going to try and figure it out right now to the best of our ability as we dive on into the models right now, see what the future may hold. Here we go. This is the GFS. It's the 06Z run. This is valid at 5 o'clock this afternoon. The upper look at 500 millibars, about 18,000 feet off the ground. Still have our big ridge in the east and the Great Lakes, and it has been a very warm week or so for the northern plains and parts of the upper Midwest. Now, some cooler air is beginning to come in there, but for now, it's going to still be warm. Places like Minneapolis over toward Milwaukee and Green Bay down to Chicago and Indianapolis, above average temperatures, and of course, much of the plain states all the way down to the Gulf Coast. Now, for us, there's that trough just to the north and west of us that'll be coming through, bringing some breezy to windy conditions down at the surface for the rest of the day today. Sunny sky here in Phoenix. High temperatures upper 90s to about 101 degrees. That's the bad news. The good news is we're done with the hundreds after today. Are we done with them for the rest of the year? I would say almost for sure. Almost. Kinda. All right. A slight chance of a shower or thunderstorm over the higher terrain of far eastern Arizona. I suppose there could be a storm, high-based thunderstorm that produces some lightning and gusty winds, and maybe right along the northern border of our state as well. Other than that, just a few clouds, some gusty winds for northern Arizona with that wind advisory, some breezy conditions elsewhere. All right, for tonight, the sky is clear. It's a bit cooler, lows in the 60s for most of us, around 70 or so in the urban core. And then tomorrow, sunny, but cooler. High temperatures, upper 80s to low 90s here in the lower deserts. We'll see highs mostly in the 60s in the mountains. Going to feel great. And if you think that's nice, wait till the sun goes down tomorrow night. Saturday night, Sunday morning, those overnight lows are going to drop into the mid to upper 50s in the coolest desert locations. Low to mid 60s elsewhere. Open the doors and windows. Going to feel great. And the day on Sunday, highs mid-80s to about 90 here in the lower deserts. Another beautiful day. Again, I know that still sounds warm, but relative to where we've been after this, the fourth hottest summer on record, 85 to 90 doesn't sound so bad, and those temperatures are trending in the right direction. And it's those overnight lows are going to feel so pleasant that you'll take a warm afternoon for those pleasant evenings and overnights. And even through the mid-morning hours, it'll still be pleasant. It's just those afternoons that get kind of warm. All right, let's keep it going. This is Monday. We're going to warm it up a little bit. Highs back to the low 90s or so, maybe mid 90s for the warmest deserts. And for the most part, conditions stay dry. Here's Tuesday. There could be a couple of showers or storms right along the eastern border of our state. Some moisture starts to flow northward, mostly into New Mexico, Colorado, maybe even West Texas. But for the moment, we're going to keep our forecast here in Phoenix and for most of Arizona on the dry side. Next Tuesday, high temperatures will nudge up just a little bit further. Highs mid 90s. Could even see upper 90s in the warmest desert spots. Same deal Wednesday. Mid 90s. Perhaps upper 90s for the warmest desert spots. But this is the point where the forecast uncertainty grows substantially and the models begin to deviate quite a bit. All right, let's run you through what the GFS says first. This is Thursday. And at this point, the GFS is starting to increase some moisture over the southwest thanks to a tropical cyclone that's down there off of the Baja. We have a southwesterly flow. Normally, that's a dry flow of air for us, but if there's a tropical cyclone down there, nope, that's going to import some moisture from the southwest up this way. So high temperatures should fall off a few degrees, and we're going to start to introduce a small chance of some rain in here. Showers, maybe a few thunderstorms. For now, just a 20% chance because, this is just one scenario of many. High temperatures, again, upper 80s, low 90s, could be mid 90s in the warmest desert spots. A week from today, Friday, the 10th. There's that tropical cyclone. It's well west of Baja, but okay, we've got a pretty big trough that's off the Pacific Northwest. Now, in this configuration, it's rather elongated, and its influence on us is limited. Now, we have high pressure sitting to our south, so the flow aloft is southwesterly, and that's still going to import some of this moisture from this tropical cyclone, but the tropical cyclone itself would be blocked from coming up our way thanks to this ridge of high pressure. It's a very elongated ridge that extends from Mexico all the way up into Western Canada, really all the way up. Positive height anomalies extend all the way up into Alaska, the Bering Sea, and eastern Russia. So this hurricane has nowhere to go but west or tropical cyclone, whatever it may be. That's the GFS kind of scenario. And you can see there's still plenty of showers and thunderstorms off of southern Mexico. And this system is, again, well west of Baja, but some of that moisture is being pulled up here for at least some widely scattered showers and thunderstorms. Temperatures would head down a bit in a nod to this. But if the GFS scenario plays out as advertised here, and again, we've shown you many different possible scenarios over the last few days, this would result in some scattered, mostly light precipitation for us late next week. We'll keep going, though, and show you how this plays out further. Let's go to Saturday, the 11th. And now that big trough off the west coast is starting to nudge our way. That ridge to the south and east of us is amplifying a bit. So a little bit of moisture would still be around for some widely scattered showers and thunderstorms. But what happens with that trough? Well, the GFS holds it at bay for quite a while. But again, we could still see at least some showers and storms around the southwestern U.S., but mostly light precipitation with maybe a few spots seeing some locally heavy downpours. This is out 10 days, Sunday the 12th. Big trough to the west. Ridge on top of us or south of us, and the moisture would start to thin out at that point, and we'd start to dry out and warm up. I mean, temperatures really wouldn't cool off that substantially with ridging around, but we would have at least a chance at showers and thunderstorms around. Okay, that's the GFS depiction. Let's go to the European. Now, this is the European next Thursday, and it's got that tropical cyclone there right off the Baja. It's south of the Baja Spur, and that moisture is flowing northward because the ridge is a little further east, and that trough is having more influence over this system. And so we're seeing better dynamics and better moisture transport into the southwest, and that entire system makes its way further to the north as we go through time. I mean, on Friday, the remnants of that starts to move up towards Southern California and Western Arizona. So we would see at least scattered, maybe numerous showers and thunderstorms in the GFS scenario, although it is uncertain as to exactly how it would play out, but that looks at least a little bit more favorable, at least compared to the GFS. Now the European AI. Now the Euro AI is much slower with bringing moisture in here. So it holds off until Saturday the 11th, and it starts to show moisture transport in here from a tropical system, but it's much further south. But by Sunday the 12th, it's got widespread rain here across most of Arizona. Some locally heavy rain would be possible in this scenario, and this would be a much more favorable scenario for widespread heavier precipitation. So, the GFS is light precip, pretty widely scattered light precip. The Euro is kind of in the middle with scattered, locally heavy showers and storms, but still not everybody gets wet. The Euro AI says we're all getting wet. It's a soaker. It's a deluge. All right. This is going to be a washout. So pick your model. Of course, I will tell you this. We are at 7, 8, 9, 10 days out in any of these scenarios. This is absolutely going to change. These models are going to flip and flop like a fish out of water between now and then. So keep that in mind. We're going to just keep an eye on trends. That's what we do here. We're not buying into any one specific model at this time. Now, looking at rainfall for Phoenix, this goes out through the 17th of October off the GFS ensemble. And look at the model spread. Okay, you got several models that are up at 2 and 3 inches of rain. You got others. This is a 31-member ensemble that show nothing. The ensemble mean is about 3/4 of an inch, 8/10 of an inch. The Euro ensemble, again, you've got some members that range from 0 all the way up to, 4 inches of rain. And the ensemble mean is over an inch. The control member, of course, people ask all the time, what's the control member? What does that mean? That's the best performing, or the model without perturbation in the run. Okay, that is the model that is the best initialized of all the models in the set. It's sort of what they call the benchmark model of the set. Each of these models, each of the 51 members in this European ensemble, and each model in an ensemble has its own physics parameters, its own algorithms, its own analogs that it uses, and that's how it comes to different conclusions. So that's kind of how that works. This is the Euro AI, and again, you've got, there's a member here that's almost up at 6 inches, and you got a couple others or a few others that are at 0. So again, the model spread huge. The ensemble mean, though, is again up at about an inch. So needless to say, a lot of uncertainty in our forecast for next week and beyond. Anytime we're talking about a tropical system, there's nobody that knows. Your weather app doesn't know. I don't know. Royal Norman doesn't know. I'm not going to talk badly about Royal Norman. He's an OG, but I wouldn't mess with that guy. Okay? But I'll say this. Even he doesn't know. All right? Maybe Jim Schneebelt would know. Whatever happened to him? All right. Stu Tracy might know. See, I talked about Stu Tracy on the videos last week, and somebody sent me a picture of old Stu Tracy with the magnets and the old weatherboard, as I remember it, back in old KPHO Channel 5 back in 1982, 1983 when I moved to the Valley. Good times. All right, temperatures off the national blended models. Hey, there's that triple digits, okay, 100 degrees today, but cooler tomorrow. And again, these are numbers at Sky Harbor. Most of you will see low temperatures much lower than this, with some spots in the mid and upper 50s Saturday night, Sunday morning, and Sunday night, Monday morning. And we'll warm it up a bit next week. Yeah, could we still hit 100 degrees? I don't think so. But these are getting a little bit too uncomfortably close for my liking. But then temperatures will trend down late next week and the following weekend in a nod to somewhat more unsettled weather. By the way, the national blend of models also has rain amounts that are up over about 2/3 of an inch over the next 10 days. So we'll see. All right. Well, that's going to do it for the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion for today. My next video is due back here tomorrow morning. Should you happen to enjoy these videos, be sure to subscribe, like, share, click that notification bell, leave those comments, questions, and suggestions. If you're really enjoying what we do here, you want to support the channel, click that thanks icon below the video. We had somebody do that yesterday. I really, really do appreciate each and every one of you for helping out with these videos. Your super thanks and donations via PayPal. Gary Johnson donated yesterday on PayPal. That's GROFFshow@gmail.com for PayPal. GROFFshow@gmail.com for PayPal. And our Venmo is also linked up down in the description below, so do take advantage of that. The person that gave us the super thanks yesterday is someone, by the way, I couldn't remember the name, CDICO 1062. So thank you for the super thanks yesterday. Really do appreciate that. I had to pull that up so I could give them their proper credit. All right. The executive producer, speaking of proper credit, the executive producer of the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion is my OAO, the sweetest of all time, the Asian sensation and proprietor of sweetchildaz.com.org and the Facebook page of the same name, Sweet Child Arizona, talking about my Michelle. Check her out, blogs, videos, everything Michelle related, Adriana related, Kylie related. It's all linked up down in the description below, so check that out. Also, check out our streaming station available 24/7, 365. It's called KMGX. We play a ton of music and have a lot of fun over there. Check out Dan over at the Courtroom Files YouTube channel, The Courtroom Files on YouTube, or courtroomfiles.com for all your Courtroom Files merch. He is live as I do this video. Why am I not watching Dan? Maybe I am watching him while I do this video. I can multitask. Also because, I have a dentist appointment in about an hour. Deep cleaning round 2. So they did the left half of my mouth yesterday. Today it's the right half of the mouth. And so I had to do this video beforehand. Otherwise, again, it would be Droopy Dog just doing the video. Hello, everybody. Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion. Isn't that wonderful? All right. But yes, I do want you to check out Dan at the Courtroom Files because, yes, he does his live stuff. Yes, we have Sidebar Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8 p.m. East, 5 Pacific. But tomorrow night, game night. What will Dan be playing on game night? I don't know. Lego Star Wars or something else? I don't know. I actually don't know. But that's a great incentive for you to check out Dan over at the Courtroom Files YouTube channel for game night tomorrow, 8 p.m. East, 5 Pacific. Okay. Oof. Catch my breath. All right. That's it. Thank you guys so much for watching, all of your continued support. It's amazing. It's so greatly appreciated. Please be safe, stay cool, stay hydrated out there. Have yourselves a great Friday and a wonderful weekend.